Perspective, presented by the New Orleans Secular Humanist Association, following our few principles of humanism.
We're committed to the use of science and reason for understanding the universe and for solving human problems. We're skeptical of untested claims of knowledge, but we're open to new ideas.
We are concerned with securing justice and fairness in society and in ending intolerance and discrimination. We are committed to the total separation of religion and government.
We affirm humanism as a realistic alternative to the theologies of despair and the ideologies of violence. We reject the concept of an afterlife and believe in living a full and rewarding life here and now.
We value and respect each individual's right to judge and lead their lives according to their own position, as long as it's respectful of other people, living in a free society.
We hope you enjoy today's program and others in the weeks to follow. Hello, folks. You can see us, but we can't see you. I'm Harry Greenberger with this program, and with this Humanist Perspective program is a part of the activities of the New Orleans Secular Humanist Association. And so today, that's also called NOSHA, N-O-S-H-A. Today we have two of the members of our board of directors, and Charlotte Klasson, who is our president, and Ricky Adams, who's been on our board for many years. And I just felt like it was time that we let you folks know a lot about what we're doing that you may not have reason to know. And so just as a start, I'd like to hear about our NOSHA website and the interesting details to look for and use online. And Ricky, that's your specialty, isn't it?
Oh, well, I guess, yeah. The website is there for people to access so they can get any type of information that they want. We post all of our events. We post any kind of event that would be of interest to NOSHA, not just our events. And we also post blogs and also local events and local calendar events. And we post copies of this show on our website, on the media page.
In other words, if they clicked on media, then they have like a whole listing of which show they might want to watch. Is that right?
Yes. I think it displays the last 2.5 years of shows.
I see. All right. Well, we've been around longer than that, but that's enough shows to keep people busy.
Oh, yes.
All right. Now, what else? And I know that you have your newsletters that can be seen there.
Right, our past.
And what else, when someone goes to that website, I know it's got a lot of interesting material. What else do they see there?
Well, yeah, one of the things that is very helpful is there's a feed that gives the national articles and posts across the country that are just fed right in there. So if someone's just looking for humanist and non-theist news and information, they could go to our website and could scroll through and find a lot of the current feeds that are out there daily.
I see.
So,
but then when there are things that you think of particular interest, you get them in there into the website.
Right. Our blog is where anyone on our board can post information. We have book reviews. Something that might have been in a meeting that would have been interesting to people. Our readings show up there from different people in our community. So we have a variety of interesting things that if they can't attend, they certainly find out a lot about us.
I know that you just recently posted the event we had to honor Barbara Forrest.
That's right, yeah.
And I had at that event talked about our relationship with her.
Yes.
And you put that on that website so people can learn more about Barbara, which they should, because she's been a real asset to NOSHA and to the whole idea of church-state separation.
That's right. Yes.
All right. Well, then I guess if we talked about that, then I'm looking at Facebook group and meetup schedule. Tell me about that.
Well, I forget how long we've been on Facebook, but when we started we started it as a group, and it's a place where people can post articles and have conversations on topics. We have over nearly 700 people on that group alone, and not all of them are local Louisiana people. And all sorts of topics get posted, and people have great conversations. So that has been really, really helpful for people who need an outlet, who want to discuss things, but they can't maybe come to a NOSHA activity. But then there's all of our group there talking about topics as if they're just at a coffee shop. So
I suspect that there are people there, because I've had calls from people who say, I thought I was the only one.
That's right.
And some people can't talk about their lack of religion with their family or friends because it becomes an unpleasant kind of thing. So this gives them opportunity to actually have conversation back and forth with people who understand them.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Meetup is a tool that we use that feeds to the website, and Ricky was very helpful in when we do a meetup event, then it gets placed on our website within the day. So it's a feed. So we use it as a scheduler. And for people who have a hard time keeping up with, they're not using a paper calendar maybe anymore, they'll get reminders. So meetup has been very helpful for us to build event activity.
Let's get basic. What's a meetup?
Well, I'll let you take that.
Meetup is just a website, like Facebook is a website.
Yeah.
And it's a place that people can go and search for local groups in their area. And they can search by topics.
All right.
Like if you like to knit and you live in New Orleans, you could put in New Orleans knitting, and chances are there might be a group that meets. So that's how people find us that way.
So if someone looks under like atheist, New Orleans,
agnostic, free thinker,
then they would that's where they would find out about NOSHA.
That's right.
All right. Have we covered that question about Facebook groups and meetup schedules?
Well, I would just say that when people come to the Facebook group, I think that it can be really helpful because it is an ongoing conversation, and you can pull topics back up. So I would encourage people who are NOSHA people to use that way, because it's great to have that outlet to back and forth responses. You learn a lot.
I see. Well, most of the NOSHA people, in fact, most of the people in the country, I guess, use the internet. Not all of them. So some people still have to rely on the old style source of information. All right. Well, now Charlotte became president of this organization following my presidency.
Right.
For which I thank you.
And you're still thanking me.
And under the new administration, set up many committees, specific committees. Tell us about some of those. What are the committees that you have?
Well, we have a variety. Everything from specific events like Darwin Day, our solstice events. We've got special events, which at the moment entails our banquet, which is a major event for us, as well as marketing and membership activities to try to do a little more. And the reason behind that was that I felt that as our group has grown and we've wanted to advance in so many different areas, is you really do have to have help. And this way our members can do some small task, something that interests them, that contributes to the whole organization. So it is a member-driven thing. We have several board activities that are specific to being a board member, but everything from our banquet to even a volunteer committee, someone who's interested in community projects. So it allows people to have that outlet to do more than just come to a meeting once a month. We don't push people to do too much, but we have a sizable group of people who've signed up for various activities. So that's been really helpful. So it's something new that we introduced just so we could spread around the involvement, so people have an ownership in NOSHA.
Well, you mentioned volunteer. What sort of projects have come to your attention for volunteers?
Well, the volunteer opportunity was certainly something that we thought was very important, because a lot of groups across the country, and certainly in our region of the country, a lot of their involvement as a non-belief group is community activism, to try to volunteer in the community, to show that people who are not part of a church system can still go out and do things to help their community. And we started the NOSHA Social Aid and Pleasure Club, just play on the words for being a New Orleans based thing, that one of our first activities, and it was just someone came across it as something to do, was cemetery cleanup with the Save Our Cemeteries organization. And it was really amazing. We had quite a turnout of people. Some people our board members who did that activity realized that, well, I've never seen this person, but they follow what we do, and they showed up, and we're very excited to be part of that. So I think there's an element of our organization of people who are, want to contribute to the community, but necessarily don't go to our monthly speaker meetings. That might not be their thing. And so Save Our Cemeteries was one example. We've done some helping with an animal organization, Spay Mart. And so we're trying to slowly advance it so we can have something maybe every few months.
And
for
you
people
put
to
together a group for the march, what does it call them? The March Against AIDS.
That's something we do, kind of as just an easy activity that people can show up to and contribute money. And so, yes, we've been active in that for several years. I'm glad you remembered that. That's one that doesn't have a committee attached to it, but we have had volunteers who step up and say they'd like to be the contact.
And so you have a group at that walk, City Park.
That's right, yeah.
All right, well then, let's talk a little bit about social activities. And as you indicated here, national trends for secular people. What social activities that we may not have already covered, what did you have in mind there?
Well, back when we started this, we realized that people were only getting together once a month, and I know Ricky would have an opinion about this as well. I'll just outline what we decided we would meet at a bar and just have cocktails and maybe eat and just converse and just get together, and then that morphed into having a dinner. And we call it our Last Supper Dinner Club, kind of as a play on words. And so nationally, that is a trend that grew up in the past, probably since the mid-2000s, that people were getting together to have drinks or have a meal. We offer occasionally our Heretics Brunch, which we do on a Sunday, usually the last Sunday of a month, in a month that doesn't have a lot of other activities. We're trying to reintroduce a Skeptics Cocktail Hour, and I know you might have an opinion on it because it was something that we felt was important to bring people together socially. So,
and then for people to know about each of these things as they are in advance of their occurring, they can get it at our website.
Yes.
They will know what's coming up from the website. Do you also send out like emails, or how do people know when some event is coming up?
Well, they can get the information on our website, and people that are signed up on Meetup and on Facebook, they get event postings. And they get reminders sent.
All right. These are people who are signed up for those two things.
Yes.
What about the ones who aren't?
They can go to the website. Anyone who is not able to access the internet in some form, it is limited because we are trying to reach as many people as we can. But if you aren't signed up for a Meetup or a Facebook, you can always go to our website, nosha.info, nosha.org.
In other words, it requires some activity on the part of the individual.
Right.
You don't send me an email that says such and such event is going to take place.
We send emails for our monthly events, but we always highlight our website to drive traffic there.
Monthly events, meaning a meeting generally with a speaker on a topic.
Right.
Is that
Our third Saturday.
How is all that determined? And tell us, when and where and how you get a speaker and.
Okay. We have our monthly meetings on the third Saturday every month. They're at the Audubon Zoo and the Dominion Learning Center. which is an auditorium that has worked for us and has really, we've really grown with that. I think a lot of people really enjoy being able to go there.
It's a first-class auditorium.
Oh, yes, really nice. We try to have a variety of speakers over the course of the year, ranging from science to perhaps some social interest in terms of causes. We are getting ready to bring in some out-of-town speakers, so it's not just local focus only. I mean, we've had some major speakers come in, authors who have written books that have to do maybe with a non-belief interest. And that's something that the board determines based on our annual budget, because we are a membership organization. So having the monthly event, we used to do 2 before Katrina, and you probably remember that. I was not involved with that part of it, getting speakers, but getting a speaker once a month is quite, you want to be on top of it, and we try to be several months in advance.
Yes.
So it's definitely something, and it's definitely something as an educational point of view. A lot of organizations over the past few years that grew up out of community activity, being volunteering their time, aren't necessarily doing a community educational component. And I think NOSHA does that very well. I think that's one of the hallmarks of our organization is supplying speakers who will address interests or topics of interest to our group, and that's a huge thing.
Actually, when we applied for our tax-exempt status, and we had to describe what kind of organization we are, I said educational, because we do that.
Yeah.
Who were some of the speakers that we've had in recent times?
Well, we have everyone, like as we were talking before we started, everyone from like the ACLU. We've had the leader from there. We've had a leader from Forum for Equality who was talking about the gay rights and some lawsuits that are coming up to benefit gay couples in the state of Louisiana.
Yes.
We've brought in a national speaker from the Atheist Experience, Matt Delahunty, who was our banquet speaker, but again, on the same line of bringing in someone who is going to be well known in the non-belief community.
Okay, well now, in addition to speakers at the monthly meetings, on occasion, instead of a speaker, we have a topic that everyone in the group contributes to. Is that correct? Do you recall what some of those topics might have been?
Well, you may have a better memory on some of it.
I am not.
You're not doing that.
I am not sure.
An example, just based on what we've talked about, gay marriage. Another would be how non-believers, how you navigate like religious holidays or holidays that have a heavy religious component, even if you're not a believer, dealing with family. I'm trying to think of other opinions.
Dealing with grief.
Dealing with grief, excellent.
Yes,
how do you deal with grief in a society that has it hugely based in religion, but yet people who are not religious, and it was those are very cathartic things to talk about it as a
And we have
community.
found that the people who attend those meetings enjoy the opportunity to share their views.
Right.
Now,
Definitely.
following each of those meetings out at the zoo, we have a little social hour with some refreshments, and that's when people get a chance to do one-on-one with other folks.
Right.
And it's like people who go to church. These are your family.
That's
this
right.
is your family, and it gives you an opportunity to realize you're not alone. There are a lot of us out there, and we're nice people.
That's right. Yes. Yes, it's been very successful.
For the most part, bright, smart, intelligent, well-educated people as well.
That's right.
So, we don't have horns, and our meetings are open to everyone. You do not have to be a member of NOSHA.
That's right.
You just come to a meeting anytime you want to.
That's right.
Now, we encourage membership.
Yes.
Tell us about membership.
Well, membership it currently is $20 for a 12-month period, and it covers bringing in speakers. It does cost money to rent the auditorium. It costs money to reimburse for refreshments, to bring in a speaker is a hotel and a plane ticket. And our members, we just recently, the reception that you mentioned for Barbara Forrest. That was a members-only event. So if a person wasn't a member, they did not get an invitation. So because we're trying to do more to give that benefit, and so members have the first opportunity to buy tickets for our banquet. So they
get a better price than non-members.
Exactly. Yes. So we try to give a little.
So there are
back.
small advantages to membership, but the real purpose is to support an organization that stands up for what we secular people believe in.
Exactly.
That's what the real reason to support the organization. In addition to what you call $20 membership dues, we do accept contributions.
That's correct. Yes.
We are a 501c3 organization, so contributions are tax deductible. And so the larger contribution a person makes, the bigger tax deduction he gets. And we would like to encourage that, wouldn't we?
Yes, we would.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I want to talk about something else that NOSHA, New Orleans Secular Humanist Association, does, and that is this television program.
Yes.
Which we have been doing for more years than I can recollect. But and I would be able to be more specific, except that we were doing this pre-Katrina, and I had copies of all of those the tapes, in my house that got flooded, and the masters that were here at this studio were in high humidity so long that they discarded them. So I don't know how many shows there were pre-Katrina.
Wow. Okay.
But there have been a lot of them. Now, to let people know how they can view these shows, they do appear on Cox Cable New Orleans, Sunday afternoon at 2:30. Like this show will appear on a Sunday afternoon at 2:30. Since we tape 2 shows a month and there are 4 Sundays in a month, each show gets run twice.
Okay.
But that's one where if you miss it, you don't get a chance to see it. There are lots of other ways to view this show. This studio just not too long ago went to Vimeo, is using Vimeo, and all of these shows they then transmit to Vimeo. So a person can go into http://vimeo.com/NOLA Humanist Perspective.
Yes.
Yes.
And they will then be able to select which show they want to see.
Yeah.
That's not the only way they can see it. They can go into YouTube, which is http://www.youtube.com/New Orleans Humanists. Okay?
Yes.
And there you can get a choice of, I don't know, lots of the prior programs. You just pick whichever one you feel like you'd like to watch. Now, for the longest time, because I've been doing this a long time, I just thought, well, we have a local New Orleans audience, so there are a few people out there watching the show. I didn't realize until I went into YouTube to see what this was all about that there were a lot more people watching this show. And when I just recently went in again to see what I could see, I want to mention a couple of the shows that really had very large, in my opinion, viewership. There was a program we did on Buddhism that had 1,576 views. Now those people not only learned about Buddhism, they learned about NOSHA and secular humanism because they're exposed to it if they watch this show. There was a show with Dr. Tipler from the university, I think Tulane University, on Einstein, or may have been UNO, on Einstein and Darwin, that had 1,323 views. That's a lot of people.
Yes,
I couldn't be happier. And just to mention one other that kind of surprised me, my show with Carrie Roy, who is New Orleans' best-known psychic, that one had 325 views. So I guess something it came into their mind and said, watch this show.
That's right, yes. They knew that it was going to happen.
All right, so listen, that covers that topic. Now, we have a committee having to do with legislation. Mm-hmm. Now, we are not allowed to support or endorse candidates for
correct.
Office, but we can become involved with legislation.
That's right.
Which we have done to some extent, not as much as we should. But you have a committee for that, do you?
Well, yes, we do, and it's a totally new concept, because I think a lot of people who are not religious find politics to be somewhat distasteful or hard to understand how they would fit in to that process, and so we're at the beginning stages of it. But I believe, and I've even had the opportunity to tell some national organizations that I happened to see this weekend, that I think that's the next frontier, that secular people have to be involved in the political process. I understand that not everyone wants to be a candidate or feels comfortable with certain aspects of it, but not giving your opinion to your state legislator is the reason we have some of the problems we have as a country. None of the laws that have a religious undertone happened just overnight. This has been a building process of us not getting our hands dirty, perhaps, with it, but it's very easy for a person to know their state legislator, to perhaps meet with them for a few minutes, to take other constituents and sit down and say, these are principles and issues that are important, and can we do some legislation around this, or to write a letter, or to make a phone call. We have to start making our presence known, because if we don't,
Yes.
then we find that we are left out of the process, and complaining is no longer helping us.
Well, we have a serious uphill battle
Yes, we do.
with the Louisiana State Legislature, which votes almost unanimously on issues in opposition to our position.
Exactly, yes.
The United States Senate and House of Representatives, we've got the same kind of a battle there. Mm-hmm. And now it appears we have an uphill battle with the Supreme Court.
That is true.
So it could be discouraging, but if we don't try, we will never make any kind of progress.
Well, and locally and state is how you that's where your toehold is. That if you don't talk to your state legislators, that is where a lot of laws affect the quality of life. Federal is one issue, but state is where a lot of laws are being written that have a very specific religious backing.
Yes, well, we actually had someone go to testify in Baton Rouge this year on an issue that we lost.
Yes.
That had to do with the lawsuit against the oil companies, I think. Well, but we made ourselves known.
That's right.
If someone wants to get
start.
involved in that, well, they're going to have to contact us. I want to thank you folks for being with us. It's been a pleasure presenting this show for you.